Louisa May Alcott was born on the 29th of February 1832 in Germantown, Pennsylvania, United States. Her father worked as an educator while her mother was a social worker. While growing up as a child, Louisa was a tomboy who loved playing boys' games and preferred the company of boys to girls. In 1834, the family moved to Boston, where Louisa's father intended to establish a preparatory school. Her father was a man who cared so much about education, although he wasn't a high-income earner. Louisa and her sister were always present in class. When Louisa became a teenager, the family fell into a financial crisis. Her father was no longer able to provide for the family. Louisa became very concerned about her family's welfare. This prompted her to work as a house servant to support the family. After working as a maid for some time, she decided to be a governess, offering to educate little girls in their own home. During the American Civil War, Lois went to serve as a nurse in a renowned hospital in Georgetown, D.C. However, after serving for only 6 weeks, she contracted typhoid and became severely ill. Due to the ailment, she was sent home. Her family was really disturbed about her health, yet she didn't panic. Even when the disease got worse, Louisa remained a strong woman and kept trusting that all will be well eventually. While recovering from her illness, Louisa discovered she had an interest in literature. She fell in love with reading and writing stories about the happenings around her. Later on, her writing habit went from being just a hobby to a career. She realized her skill in writing and decided to monetize it. From 1962, Louisa began writing novels, poems, and short stories. Although she was still far from a literary success, this young lady kept encouraging herself. After writing a series of stories for children, some of her works started getting popular. With time, she eventually became successful with her writing career. In 1868, she wrote a semi-autobiography about herself and her sister titled Little Women. This literary work was what announced her presence throughout the United States. The book sold numerous copies, and it was considered an inspiring content for all groups. By the time Louisa stopped writing, she had successfully created a remarkable reputation as one of America's most creative novelists and poets. In life, there are days when you would be discouraged, broken down, unstable, and confronted by life. However, don't let yourself get engulfed in your problems. You may be surrounded by a series of difficulties. Still, if you refuse to let them overshadow you, you will eventually get out of these problems. Robert Chew said, "Ships don't sink because of the water around them. Ships sink because the water gets into them." Don't let what's happening around you get inside you and weigh you down. It is very possible to be in the midst of problems and still remain happy, undefeated, and strong. This happens when you don't allow your problems to cause you sadness and break your spirit. Your surrounding may be filled with tough challenges, but if you don't let them get into you, you will definitely survive. Chuck Jones said, "Remember the time you thought you could never survive? You actually did, and you can do it again." If you take a pause and reminiscence on your past life, you will discover that there were times you overcame challenges you never thought you would overcome. This simply means that you still can keep defeating whatever roadblocks that stand in your way. Anthony Keeper said, "We have the ability to create joy and excitement in every situation we are in, and it begins with the way we think around that situation." You don't need to cause yourself unnecessarily pain or heartbreak due to the circumstances surrounding you. Always have a positive mindset towards any event that happens, whether good or bad. This is the only way you can become successful without being distracted by your situation. Louisa May Alcott encouraged herself and remained positive amid troubles, and this energized her spirit to succeed. No matter what happens, always encourage yourself.